Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender Europe, game designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the German Diplomatic Disaster Series. This should be March and April turn, so it's the next episode along the line. Oops, I didn't put up my buttons. So I'm going to take a quick moment here to put up these buttons so that you can see stuff roll along as we do it. And I need movement. What I was going to bring up is weather track. At the end of each of our sessions, we always roll the weather for the following turn so we can plan for it. So at the end of February, we rolled and everything came up poor. So that's why we don't start there. We go right into declaration of war phase. And so we'll get into it here. At the end of February, he had put, I hadn't moved the turn marker up to March like I should have, and so he counted from February. Ultra was coming in 3 turns because we are playing with, for those of you that can't remember, we are playing with variable entry. So he had to roll for his Ultra in March, and he rolled 3 turns, so it should have come in June, but he put it in May. So I just adjusted that there. And then I made a note in the log of why I moved it. And then we skipped out. I didn't have any declarations of war, and they can't because there's still a pact in place. And then we just do the get this down to where we have the combats when they matter. What are we doing? Oh, we're just doing yeah, we just do production there. Russia's up to their 30, so they've got all their packed guys. Germany was down a factory, so she's at 26. And the Brits are at 22. So now we're going into strategic warfare. And I can't remember. No, I didn't have anything to play here. So I played my what did I? I really don't remember. I guess I didn't. So I got a 7. He got a 4. So we swapped places on the card essentially. God, I keep bringing up turn track. So I go down a factory. He goes up a factory. It's not really affecting the British that much. They're right around 20 production points every turn. So, and it's going to only get worse when he gets Lend-Lease and so on. So it's nothing seems to go quite right for the Axis powers. Where are we at? Strategic movement. I think. Did I do one here? Oh yeah, I took the. Took the German strategic move. And moved, even though he's reduced, I moved him to the front line so that I can just flip him over when I have the points. I won't have to move him across country. The West, I'm not. He strategically moved that guy away from the Po River. I think he was trying to give himself some retreat route possibilities. Soviets, I don't think he had one. Okay, we're in operations phase, and I believe that I'm just flying airplanes in here to go after the Allied airplanes. Yeah, I got the British there. And I get the Italians next. When we're in poor weather and we have... this was a chance for me to actually get a 2-for-1, because at -3, if I roll a 6, I can get him for 2, and I only take 1. But I didn't roll it, so then it just cost me 2 to take his up 2. Okay. What did I do? Okay, once again, at this point, I should have just had the 2nd Panzer in this infantry attack the 7th Garrison, trying to get the hex, so I'd have a 3-hex attack on Western Desert Forest next turn, but I didn't do it. It's just... it's little oversights like that in a game like this, where everything is going horribly wrong, just little oversights like that are definitely going to cost you the game. And people say, oh, it can't be that bad. It's like, it's that bad because the way diplomacy is going, the way strategic warfare is going, the fact that Italy is on the western side in November of 39, the Germans can't afford to make any mistakes, and I've made several along the way. So we committed. He threw in his tanks. I threw in my airplane. And then I think we're just doing the calculations here. 3 from the armored not going across the ridge, +2 for an armored, +1 for an airplane, minus, and then he's +1. Where's this +1 for British, +1 for tanks? Then I was -1 for the weather and -1 for the terrain, so it was like +4 to +2. It was like, it's not that bad. And I rolled a grand total of 8, so I was like, hey, I might actually get a retreat out of this. And he rolled just enough to get a total of 6, which just said, nope, diamond, not gonna move. So Western Desert Forest holds me up. I think I just did a couple other futile assaults here. Oh yeah, I did the desperation assault into the -2 guy. Neither one of us bothered to throw our tanks in there. We had better places to go. If I remember right, yeah, it's poor. So it was like absolutely nothing. I rolled a 1. He rolled a 4 net. So I mean, I had to have that be reversed. Me roll the 6 and he rolls the 1. Then I would have gotten him, but it didn't work. All I needed was a retreat to kill him, destroy him, and get the hex. But if I'd have thrown in the armored unit, I might have gotten it. Well, not with that die roll, but. Oh yeah, now I'm up here. I decided to try and take, another hex. And he threw in his tanks, and I think I threw in my airplane. See, I was 3, 4, 5, -3. So I started at +2. He started at 0. Oh, yeah, he's an infantry unit. So I had 3, 4, -3. I don't understand. I was -3, so I should have started at +1. And then my tanks give me another +1. My airplane gives me another +1, and he gets a +1 from his tanks. I ran a grand total of 6, and he rolled a 3. So he was retreated. I was like, yay, look, Ma, I took a hex in Italy. So then I started thinking about this, and I went, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because it costs 2 for the hex and 2 for the unit to attack into Venice. And I end up I start off at +3, and then -2. So I end up at +1. And he starts off at -1, and he'd already used his tank, so he didn't have anything. So it's +1 to -1. I rolled a 5, +1 was a 6. I was like, maybe. And he rolled a 3 -1, which was a 2, so he retreated. I would have much rather seen him roll a 2 and have that eliminated, but I'll take the retreat. The 9th Army retreats behind the Po. Next, you're going to see us. I'm going to zoom out here so you can see this happen. This is us showing. This is one of the features of the system. I showed him how he could figure out how far that airplane could fly because he has to rebase it when I take the space, which I'm going to do. And he decided to move it like there. And then I took the space, and I went, wow, I'm doing good. And then I thought about it, I said, well, I got to figure out a way to get supply to these guys. So this is where zoom back in. This is where it gets a little bit more interesting. I'm going to move 2 infantry units. I moved this garrison that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just running down the rail line to fill in that little gap there. And then this infantry unit goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I have a nice little wedge along the Adige down to the Po. I've taken Venice, so he's down to 8 will points left. I still have not taken a factory. I've taken 2 cities, but no factory cities, which is, you know, that's annoying. I can't seem to get a hold of his factory cities, but did something, right? And I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. Then I spent my last sortie with that airplane to bring it up forward. Because in that last combat, I was too far away to be used in Venice. And I'm like, I need to get this airplane forward. Then I was done. Go into the Western Operations phase. And he gets this garrison unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this guy goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he got like a real unit to defend Boulogne. What happened next? Oh, this guy went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this guy went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's just trying to slow me down, hoping for poor weather and stuff to keep me out of these cities. And he's been doing a pretty good job of it. I just can't seem to... I mean, this is the first time I've made any kind of semi-breakthrough. And it took some lucky die rolls to do it. Which is what it really comes down to, I think, on the Italian front. He started to think about moving it back. And then he said, no, I want to stay there. Then he took the convoy that was in Genoa, and it went off back to Plymouth. Okay, now I gotta zoom out here because he's playing games with his fleets. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. Okay. Oh, this is me putting down some control markers. That's what's going on. I was trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing there. I was trying to get control markers down, and he kept jumping the map around on me, so... then I finally stopped. I think I'll put them down before we start our next session, so that they're all in place. Trying to figure out what he's doing. Oh, and then he moved. That's what he did. He went off from Naples, went to Gibraltar, picked up the Gibraltar guy, and brought him back to Genoa. So... And now he brings up the British... supplies the British from the Italians, sorry. And I think we were done. Yeah, he didn't do anything with Soviets. Go straight into replacement space. So, Germany resets her airplanes. He goes and he resets his airplanes while I'm doing mine, which is not according to the rules. It's kind of important to see what your opponent's doing first. Because if the Germans don't bother to bring up their airplanes, you might not spend the points to do yours and spend them on something else. So it's kind of important to follow form when you're playing the game. He's not. So people get impatient and want to get it over with, but there's a sequence of play for a reason. Mobilization. I don't think I had anything to build. West didn't have anything to build, neither did the Soviets. So we get to diplomacy. Pulled a 2 out of the cup. It's 50-50 shot. And I pulled the no event. Now, if you remember from last game, what the heck is going on here? Oh yeah, I was trying to get the political success because he had pulled the political success on me, and he managed to get rid of my pro in Yugoslavia and in Finland in the last time that we were doing stuff. And ever since then, it's kind of been a swap back and forth here. So, so then he had the British go. Again, he's going faster than me, moving the turn. And he pulled the political success, and he debated on where to put it. He thought about Spain, then he looked at Spanish army versus a Turkish army, and he put it in Turkey because not only does Turkey have an extra regular ground unit, but if he activates Turkey, Russia will get 2 extra infantry units. So he gets more ground units by activating Turkey. We discussed it, and that seemed to be like that was a good idea, Of course, there's nothing in the cup right now to do anything with, so I think go to the Soviets, and they put in a political success and a no event. So he tries to do the same thing he did last time, which, kind of makes sense. And that was the end of turn. We're just moving stuff onto the faction card. He now picks up a free forces, so he has an extra +1 in ground combat anywhere he wants to use it, one time. We go to March. We go to April, and we roll the weather, and it is. This is on this particular thing. I made a really big mistake, which I will point out as we go along. Anyway, the weather goes poor, fair, poor. So we get the declaration of war, and I say no, thank you. Skip out of that. I'm going to go do the production. We're done with that. We get into strategic warfare. It's a +2 to a +0. I rolled a 7, and he rolled a 5, which was enough to give him back his factory. So I'm not getting anywhere on the strategic warfare bit front. Strategic movement. For the axis. I think I took this extra infantry unit over here in by the Rhone. And I took it all the way up again to the Eastern Front because, you know, June he gets to roll, and I need to have at least enough infantry there backed by the airplanes to keep the Russians at bay while I finish off Italy. I don't think there's going to be a true 41 Barbarossa, just the way things are going. The West, if I remember right, he said he didn't have one, and later he's actually going to have one. And the Russians said, you know, Finland's probably never coming in, so I'm going to rail from Viborg down to Kaunas. And there was a little hoop out there where he tried to pick up Leningrad instead of the strategic move guy. And then we started into Axis operations, and he said, oh, wait, I have a strategic move. So we went back and let him do his British strategic move, and went back to Axis operations. All right, so Italy is the focus, so we're going to zoom in here to what's going on. Remember, above this little green line is all fair weather. So this guy up here, the guy's just across the Alps, that's all fair weather there. Anyway, I believe, yeah, I just rang up the 2 German airplanes for the 2 Allied airplanes, leaving me with 2 sorties to try and do something with. And this is my mistake. Well, no, I finally corrected my mistake. I said, you know, it's about time that I just go ahead and do this and get this guy out of the way, because weather was going so poorly. And if you remember, it's only poor down here, so I'm 1-2 for the infantry, 3-4 for the tank, and it should be -2. So I'm starting off at +2 to his -2. And then I think we go to combat commitment, and neither one of us bothered. I got a grand total of 5, and he got a grand total of 1. So it can't retreat, so he's eliminated. And I get to take the hex. There we go. And since this is fair weather up here, I decided to go ahead and try and shoot at this guy up here. So he started off at 0, and I was at a net +1. I think we had combat commitment next. Yes. I did, and he did not. I think I threw in the airplane at this point. So I got an extra +2 out of it. So I was like +3 to 0, right? Yeah, flip him or something. 3 + 3 was a 6, and he rolled a 6. And I was like, oh man. So I got one more attack at this. Back down to my 1 to 0 before we go to combat commitment. And I chose not to. And this was probably a mistake. I probably should have just gone ahead and tried to kill that Italian. But I rolled a 1 + 1 is a 2. He rolled a 4, so nothing happened. And then I just gave up. And this is my biggest mistake. As I just said, never mind. The dice aren't going to work for me. I'm just going to save my air support. Save my tank for any kind of counterattack that he might try and pull off, you know, up here in the mountains or something. Or did I use my tanks? I can't remember. No, I saved my tanks. Turns out I could have spent like 5 more points. I could have like moved these guys up over here in the east because I have tons of points left. You know, I only spent 3-4 out of 28. So I should have actually moved, you know, at least down to 20. I had dreams of possibly just doing 1 airplane and building my surprise attack marker. I think that's what I was thinking. But when it came down to it, I couldn't do it that way for some reason. I ended up spending to get all my airplanes back. So this was the biggest mistake I made here is I should have spent at least 2 more. And over here, highlight him and him. Over here next to Switzerland, the second garrison can't retreat, and it's in fair territory. So I could have attacked. I would have started off at +4, +2 for German, +2 for armor and fair, -1 for the ridge, -1 for the rough terrain. So I would have been +2 to his -2, and I would have gotten at least 2 attacks. Either attack forces him to retreat, he would be eliminated. If he gets eliminated, I get to go here with a no enemy zone of control. That's important. Because it's a mobile attack, I get a no enemy zone of control, which allows me to move here. And that then sets me up to being able to attack Milan directly, or even Genoa across the river if I have to. But by being there, I am forcing him to garrison Milan or something. I mean, he's got to do something about this because now Western Desert Force can't really move anywhere. So that was my big mistake. And that could have meant almost it would have made it much easier to try and take out Italy in May if I get fair weather. If I'm already adjacent to the city, you know, it's like you can attack it up to 3 times to take Milan, depending on how things go on beating up the Western Desert Force and so on. So, yeah, that was a mistake on my part. And then I just said I was done. And he moved this guy back to defend the Po. This Italian, I think he left the Italian there and instead moved the Gibraltar guy up. And then he got this guy. He was thinking about me getting fair weather. I don't think he wanted me to get like a 3 movement point attack at his 9th, which would force it to retreat, and then I could attack the city at only +1 instead of -2 for the river in the city. It would only be -1 coming from this side. So it basically went blocked up there. Did he do anything? I think he tried to do an assault there. Right, because it's fair weather there, so he doesn't lose any. He's going to lose 2 for the terrain. And I chose not to commit, I think. Or no, I did. He's the attacker, so he committed and I did not. I figured he'd be +1 to my +2. And I don't know why I didn't commit the tank on some of these. He rolled a 5 + 1 as a 6, and I rolled a 6 + 2 as an 8, so nothing happened. And then he was trying to say, what happens if a BF pushes him back and I go here? And I was like, well, you would be out of supply, so you'd have to put somebody in this space to get you to trace supply back. And, you know, you wouldn't be able to move or anything. You'd be there, but all I have to do is kill the guy behind you to cut you out of supply and just let you die on the vine. And he was kind of like, And since he didn't have anything to add to that, because these tanks and airplanes are used up, I think he just went and did supply down here. Oops. He's just moving the Italian fleets are doing their supply thing. And that was it. He was done. Now he started to move some Russians. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because he kind of moves around Russia a bit. So he moves the guy in Kishinev up to the front line. There's another guy up to the front line. I forgot to move the Romanians last turn. He let me go ahead and catch up. I keep forgetting to move them. I've been meaning to move them every turn, and I just have been forgetting. So concentrated on Italy. And then the Russian army is just sort of moving up. And he moves up some airplanes. So he's just kind of getting something up on the border so that the Germans have to, make at least an attempt at garrisoning. But I think he's set up to, the minute he thinks I'm really going to attack, their guys I think are all going to just run away. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to stand and fight there or not. As bad as things have been going for me, he might want to stand and fight, so. Went through no supply, replacements for the Axis. I flipped over that unit and these 2 units. So that was 3, and then 9 for my airplanes. So that was 12. And I just figured I had a 1 and 4. I have 1 through 4 is fair in the Mediterranean. And I kind of need to get that in May to give me even a chance of taking out Italy. I don't even think I can take Italy out in May, personally. It's going to take some, really, really good die rolls or something. But we'll see when we get there. And now I think he's doing the West. And again, he had so many points. He was just over here. He was looking for units to reset. It's like, I've redone my fleets. I've redone my convoys. It's like, I need to start using my stuff to do stuff. Oh, by the way, the reason why you see all these assault markers in Switzerland is they're in every direction of the hexes. So for 6 counters just sitting in Switzerland, we can just pick them up and put them down wherever we need them. So that's why we do that, especially through the poor weather turns. You get into fair weather, they tend to get in the way, but fortunately Switzerland's sitting right there with 7 hexes, so you can just drop them there. Oh, I know what he did. He realized that his home fleet, where was it? His home fleet, if you go back, was there. And he's like, I've got all these points. I could move home fleet down here to Plymouth and still be able to reset that. And I was like, go ahead. This isn't a cutthroat game, although when I make mistakes, I tend to live with them when I play these games because I learn more from that. But if somebody misses something like that, I usually just let them go ahead and do it because I'd rather play not to, huge gaffes. I don't know if that's a huge gaff, but I started thinking to put the Africa Army in Vienna, and I said, nah, put it up in Danzig. Because I thought, well, if, I get Hungary or Yugoslavia in, and then I can just run him 10 hexes in, and I thought about it and said, only way I'm going to get over there to save Romania is I'm going to have to rail something there, and I'm going to have to get either Yugoslavia or Hungary to get on my side. These are all real long shots in this game because I can't seem to win a pro marker. I think I pulled 2 political successes. The first one activated Romania. The second one put a pro marker in Belgrade, and shortly thereafter, the Allies pulled a political success and the last German pro marker, or whatever that was in the cup, and it was just like, So away went Belgrade, and away went Finland. So I don't have any chance of getting any allies anymore. I don't think, which means that Romania will most likely fall because I won't be able to get there in time. It's just sad, but true. No one had anything to mobilize. We went to the Diplomacy Cup. And I pulled a political success. Amazingly enough. No, this is my second one. That's right. I think I got a pro marker in Belgrade from a... Just not sure how it happened. So I got a political success. And I think the West went and let's put that political success and a no event back in. And then he had the Russians pull. And they pulled the political success out right away. So away went. It's like, I got a political success, and he, between the two of them, engineered to get another one, and now there's only 2 no events in the cup. So things are not going well. And then we went to end of turn, which is going to be big for him. I mean, I got my tanks back. He gets Lend-Lease, so now he's at +4 factories. He's only down 1, so 8 + 4 is 12. He's going to be at 24 production next turn. He's almost catching up to the Germans at this point. And we're into May. Put that into the elimination box so we can rebuild the Italian. And I believe we are done. So then we go to the next turn's weather phase, and it's 564. And if you look on the player aid card, 564, it was in March and everywhere was poor. Or no, it was April. So we're just rolling straight up for May. So a 5 in the cold zone is poor. A 6 in the mild zone is poor. But a 4 got me fair weather in the Med. So I got some fair weather. Maybe I can kill some Italian armies and get a chance to, if not conquer Italy, set it up so that it's a quick conquest in June. Problem is at the beginning of the June turn, or actually the very end of this turn, as we move the marker forward, the Russians have a 50-50 chance of joining the war. 4, 5, or 6, boom, they're in. There's no more diplomacy. So if I don't conquer Italy this turn, there's absolutely no chance of me getting Yugoslavia. Because I would need to conquer Italy, put a pro marker from the conquest into Yugoslavia. Because of conquest of the rules about conquering Italy by the Axis, I will end up with 2 pro markers in there. So it'll be a 50-50 shot that I'd be able to pull a pro marker and activate Yugoslavia. And then if the Russians come in June, at least I can rail 1 armored unit over to Romania and try and, keep them in the war for a little while I try to clean up Italy and get moving over that way. Like I said, I don't see myself being able to do a proper Barbarossa because I have to get rid of Italy. I can't have this many units on my southern border. A couple British I can handle with a handful of infantry and such, but not all these Italians and the extra airplane and everything. So, I think that's where we stopped. Oops, I'm hitting the back button, sorry. He was having problems with his computer, that's why you see some of the notes there. And so we just went ahead and saved right here and said, that's it, we're done. So, we'll see how the May turn goes. I will have fair in the warm zone, so maybe I can finagle some good die rolls for a change and actually pull this off. I'm not expecting it. Anyway, I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithms keep me up, up on the screens for everybody. And until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.